This film was taken in 1950 when Jim and Nan came back from America. By then we had coloured, or they had coloured film. Cocks o' hay, which are gone now, were part of the agricultural at the time. They were brought in by a shifter to the hay shed. They were dried in the cocks on the field. I'm not just quite sure where that was. That is Ballymachugh. The girl on the far side is myself, and this is my sister Dimpna, also with Nan Cunnine. Finney, Clarks of Finney and Miles the Slasher's monument. The village of Finney with Dimpna and myself walking down the street. The lake. I think it's from, I think that's Eugene Gaffney's field, but I'm not sure. Film is getting very old and fading a bit. That looks like Roger's Gate up in Fortland. Now back to Omard. Jim Cunnine took an awful lot of Omard, always. The lime trees in the avenue. And the big ash with the standing stone. Val Finnegan and Paddy Mullally and Patsy Finnegan. Back to Val, and that's Paddy Mullally and Jim McCormick. Josie Mullally, as she is now Josie Clinton, with the Major Quinn and various men getting the lunch. The tennis court in Omar with Mariah walking across it. That tennis court where Michael Collins once played tennis. Patsy Finnegan and Nan Cunnine with Mariah Sheridan there. Back to the yard. And the coach house. Now in the background there is the original dwelling house where Patrick and Nan Lynch, there it is, Patrick and Nan Lynch lived. That was the dwelling house, but it was later an outhouse, because Nicholas Sheridan's father John built a new 2-story house. This yard was also shown in the 1938 film. And of course hens picking everywhere. There was always hens. Everybody kept hens. Eggs were much better. The lake, Omard Lake, up the hills from the house. This is the Farmer Riley's in Carrick, looking down to the priest's house and onto the chapel. Of course, Nan Cunnine's mother was one of the Farmer Rileys. There's the chapel and the rock. Lovely view. View taken from the front of the Farmer Riley's house, which in them days was covered with ivy. Kathleen Riley now lives in the house on her own. Her sons built 2 houses, 2 modern houses. Fergus there, with various members of the Riley family. Hughie, that would be Hugh Riley's grandfather, and his Aunt Maggie are there. But the film is very bad, and there's Fergus smoking a fag. He doesn't smoke anymore. This is all very faded. It wasn't that faded the last time I saw it, but it's hard to see it. Lots of nice flowers. Kathleen still has lots of flowers. Ballyheelan seems to have deteriorated. Packy Fagan in the horse and cart down at the stable. It seems to have deteriorated since 1938. That's Packy going up the road, and Philip, Chassie and Desi as young men. Nan Cunnine. This is Anne's Grove. Patrick Lynch lived in Ansgrove. It's up in Castletown, now on the south side of the lake in County Westmeath. The Lynch family lived there, but the later ones, at this stage there was no young people in the house, so I think the family have faded out. I don't really know an awful lot about them. I did go up there and met them, but that is a small lake that's up in that part of the country, and this would be Lynch's land. One of the Lynches with 2 asses. There was a sister and 2 brothers living in the house, which was the house that Nan Cunnine's, there is the house that Nan's father was born in. The sister is there, and one of the brothers. It was a typical upper class farmer's house at the time, 2-story. With a fusty parlour, I'm supposed to say that. Most farmers' houses had a parlour that was very seldom used in those days. People didn't sit in the parlour. They kept it done up for visitors. That was Miss Lynch. Ballyheelan again, with myself up against the wall. That's Granny Reid and Frank Fitzpatrick, shaking hands with Auntie May. Sister Joan, she was Joan in those days, Granny Reid. Granny Reid's shop at the back. Claire and Mrs. Cunnine, they're all there, Fergus and Chassie and Claire. Granny Reid's shop. The name over Granny Reid's shop, M.T. Reid, was cut by Johnny Black, who was the grandfather of a later Miss Ireland. There's Fergus smoking. Torry, the most interesting character in the family, if a bit of a nuisance. In the green dress is Philip's mother, Philip and Mona's mother, Mrs. Rose Sheridan. Auntie May and Nan Cunnine. Sitting at the garden wall, everybody brought their tea out to sit at the garden wall. No, I don't know where that is for a minute. Hell of a big field. That was big area. Oh, that's the field at the back. In the rock house is there in the centre of the picture. The field at the back of up in Ormond on the top of the hill. We're coming up to Donald Gibney's house is there, and where our house now stands, that is it there, and in the background there is Donald Gibney. Coming down the Ormond Road, rows of trees as you can see. Potatoes. The house, Colm Lynch's house now, when it was first built, it was red brick. Nan Cunnine going around. My mother was in America and she had built it, and they took pictures to bring back to her. Ormond House from the garden, Colm's garden. As you can see, that's Mullacombe covered with bouchaloons. And Jim Cunnine went back to America and told my mother that she had the nicest farm in Ireland because it grew big yellow flowers, which of course was very bad news and against the law. You could be prosecuted for having bouchaloons in the field. In the distance is Ackle there. Back to the bouchaloons and Mullacombe. The field now belongs to Pather Galligan. Pather has no bouchaloons on it. That is the rock house.